everyone. Just allowing everyone in. I hope everyone's having a fabulous Tuesday so far. We are very excited for today's session. I hope you all are as well. The webinar chat is open, so feel free to pop in where you are tuning in from. We would absolutely love to know where you're tuning in from today. I'm both myself and Gabby are based in the northwest of the UK, so near Liverpool. I would love to know if you're in the UK or if you're across the world. Okay, we have another Liverpool
How's from Liverpool?
and
Jess,
lots of other
Jess.
places as well.
Oh my gosh, so many places. It's all mainly UK though. Oh, Mumbai, India. We've had our first international.
Love
Hello.
that. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm very excited to be delivering today's session along with Gabby. Now, this is very different for us. So you may know both myself and Gabby from other businesses that we have run or things that we've done online before. But today is all about productivity and why you always feel busy, but you never actually feel finished. Now, I know both Gabby and I can relate to this. Over the last few years, we've both built multiple businesses that we felt we weren't always the most productive that we could be, and how we actually changed that has really changed the course of our life in general. So, we're very excited for today's session. So, the chat's going to be open the entire time. So feel free if there are a few little bits of interactivity to pop that in there. If you have any questions at all, we will talk you through our new business, which is called Passata. If you do want to sign up to that, there is a free version you can do. But if you have any issues or any feedback, feel free to pop it in the chat as well, just so that we have that live if you are having any issues. But before we get started with today's session, we thought we would just introduce ourselves. So I will go first. My name is Olivia May Hanlon. I am, and I have been for the last 6 years, the founder and CEO of Girls in Marketing. But as of last year, I am also the co-founder and CMO of Passata, along with Gabby. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a public speaker. I, at heart, am a community builder, and I'm so passionate about helping people navigate both the working world, whether it's all the way from marketing to leadership and also to productivity as well. I think it's super important and it's stuff that we don't get taught, whether we're in the workplace, at school, college, anything like that. And I think when we get to a place in our careers where we feel we want to level up a little bit, I love helping people do that as well. I can see lots of amazing, very familiar names in the chat of people who are part of our Girls in Marketing community. So thank you so much for joining if you are someone who's already part of that. I am very excited for today's session, and I'll hand it over to Gabby to introduce herself as well.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on this lovely, well, it's rainy where we are, Tuesday lunchtime. If you don't know me, my name's Gabby. I was previously the founder of a media company called Talk 20s. We used to have a podcast where we talked through with celebrities and guest experts about all the things they never teach you in school. And I think one of the things you just never get taught about in school is productivity, how to manage your day, how to be the most effective that you can possibly be to reach your goals ultimately. I also think it's really important that I mentioned that I have ADHD. So if anyone else is in the same boat as me, feel free to share in the chat if you're happy to do so. And for me, finding a way to work with my brain, like I have with Passata, has completely transformed my life. I felt a lot of my, especially my early 20s, a lot of it could have been made a lot easier if one, I'd had an ADHD diagnosis earlier on in my life, and two, I understand how my brain worked, so I could actually optimize the way that I worked in order to be able to do that. So yeah, I joined Liv on this journey. I am the CEO of Passata and loving every minute of it so far. Olivia and I met in 2020. I actually interviewed Liv for the Talk 20s podcast. She was, when it was that awkward time you could meet like one person out of your bubble or whatever, because we're both in the Northwest. She was one of the first people that I interviewed early doors when things started opening up and you could meet in like groups of six and stuff like that. And we ended up recording a podcast in her flat, completely makeshift. Obviously, we did studio stuff like later down the line and it all went very professional after that. But in lockdown, it was the early days of the podcast, and we just hit it off straight away. We're like, oh, you're like me, like we're the same. Like we had so many things in common. I kind of feel like Talk Twenties and Girls in Marketing have been kind of brother and sister growing up in terms of, we built our businesses at the same time. We even shared an office at one stage as well, which was really amazing. And because I'm 30 now, I decided to close that chapter in January and move on to this exciting project with Passata. And yeah, we just have bonded instantly, and even our dogs are boyfriend and girlfriend as well. So yeah, we are really good friends, and we're excited to bring this next chapter to you guys as well.
And I think most of all, we are two women, very normal, from very normal working class backgrounds, and we want to make as much noise as we possibly can in the tech and the AI industry. I think I've spoken to a lot of people through Girls in Marketing that I still run, at the moment, and when I speak to people, a lot of them are saying that the AI industry is very overwhelming or there's a lot of men in it. So we want to build something not just for people like you guys, but with people like you guys as well. So we will talk a little bit about Passata before we head into today's session. But what I want to preface the whole session with is that Passata is super early doors. So we are working with people like you to build a tool that works for you and your life. The idea of Passata is that it's personal and then it works for you, and that all current tools that we have are broken. They're not working for us. And that's what we kind of found as two entrepreneurs, as two women who are very multitask and do lots of different things all of the time. So, yeah, we just wanted to talk a little bit about that. And that is ultimately why we're building Passata. Passata is an AI tool and it turns your daily sort of work patterns that are happening every single day into those big long-term goals, into personalized productivity support as well. So, as I said, it's still super early doors for us, and we are always making updates and improvements using people like our beta testers, people like you guys, and we want to know as much as possible. We want you guys to build this tool with us. So, in terms of what Passata is, if you haven't heard about it, essentially, it's a productivity assistant that helps you be as productive as you can. So it's a smarter AI-powered way to both plan, track, and move forwards towards your goals. So you can do things like talk to the assistant to help you plan certain things, whether that's tasks, let's say you've got a report due, all of these different things. And the idea isn't that it's done for you, but it helps to assist you to do these things. So we don't want the whole notion at the moment is AI is going to take our jobs. We don't want that. We actually want AI to assist us in being better at our jobs, whatever that is, whether you are full-time employed, a business owner, a freelancer, wherever you kind of sit on that spectrum. And also you can see where your time is actually going as well, which was one of the initial reasons that we kind of came up with this idea of Passata. Is I was constantly getting to the end of the workday and thinking, where has my time actually gone? What have I actually done today? Because maybe I'd only ticked off one thing off my to-do list or nothing sometimes. So the idea behind Passata is to give you a much better understanding of where your time is actually going. And then in terms of just some future iterations, so as I said, we're very early days at the moment, and where we see Passata going is we want to integrate tools that already exist, so things like Slack, Gmail, Notion. We're working on at the moment being able to help you with emails, organization of that. We're also working on like Slack integrations with Slack and Notion as well. So it's not a replacement for something like Notion. It's a layer that will sit on top of your existing tools. So that's super, super important to consider. And we also have the AI assistant that is currently in the app itself, but is always getting improved. So it will adapt to your goals, your habits, and your preferences. And this will help you to schedule meetings, stay on top of any tasks that you have and goals that you have as well. And we want to do this cross-platform and always on support, so mobile, making sure that you can always see these insights. So that is planned for the future, as well as gamification. And we really are excited in the future to do more gamification as well. So you can officially now sign up for Passata. You can just go to passata.io and you can sign up for a freemium account. So we actually did have a desktop version of Passata. So if you already have the desktop version, that is now redundant. The web app is the one that we will be using going forward. We are very much in startup mode at the moment and we are experimenting and changing all of the time. So we now have a web app and we have a free version. So you can go on, use the free version as much as possible, and then there are the paid versions, paid features in that as well. But you should be able to utilize it as much as you can for free at the moment. We also have a WhatsApp community that we've created for you guys because we would absolutely love to get your feedback, any app suggestions that you have, and just generally to stay in the loop about the latest updates. Our CTO, who is heading up our tech, is in that WhatsApp chat. So any issues that you have, pop it into there and we'll get it sorted as soon as we can. The great thing with the web app is that we can make changes super quickly, obviously as long as we can identify those problems. So any feedback, any suggestions that you have after today's session, please join the WhatsApp group and come in and have a chat with us. We would absolutely love to have you there, and we will also be posting updates as well as we go. So I'm going to pass it over to Gabby for the start of today's session, and then we can get going with everything we've got for you guys.
Okay, so if you guys join this webinar, I am thinking that you are probably going to find this scenario very relatable, but please do tell me in the chat if you do. So does this sound like you? You tick off tasks all day, you're in meetings, you're replying to emails, you're constantly juggling priorities. I know many of you who might work in marketing will relate probably because there's so many different areas of marketing that you need to be clicking in and out of. But somehow you get to the end of the day and you think to yourself, what have I actually got done today? How am I actually moving forwards towards my goals? Lots of people saying that sounds like me every day. Sounds amazing. Sounds amazing. Can't wait to try this about Passata. But if that sounds familiar, you're not alone. I mean, everyone in the chat is kind of saying it that they feel this way right now. And so you can see you're not the only person that's feeling that way. And so when Olivia and I looked at this problem, we were thinking the way that we've been taught to do productivity is broken. It's not working for anyone. It's making us tired. It's making us burnt out. It's making us get to the end of the day and thinking, what am I even doing this for? Quite often. So this webinar is an opportunity for you to step back and rethink how you actually work and build a better system that doesn't add more to your plate. Instead, it works with how you actually work. We're going to be covering why most productivity systems are secretly setting you up to fail, how to spot your energy patterns and focus triggers, and a new, more human focused way to get things done. So it's going to be very practical, real talk. Hopefully, there'll be some stuff that you can implement immediately from today's session. We might, if you can grab a pen and paper or something like that, but there might be some tasks along the way that can help you kind of start to think about how to think about productivity slightly differently as well.
Okay, so I want to get one thing straight, and I do tend to start sessions like this because I think we have this whole notion, as Gabby said, of being productive and you've got to be as busy as you possibly can. But I want to get one thing straight is that being busy is not necessarily the same as being productive. Now, I was definitely one of those people that was constantly busy, but felt like I wasn't ever really moving the needle with what I had to do and what I needed to do. But I felt like I was constantly busy. And I can see from the chat already, people are saying that they feel like this, totally. So we want to start thinking less about how we can be busy and how we can make the most of the hours that we have because there's that famous thing of there's 24 hours a day. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. I think it was Molly May said that on a Diary of a CEO episode once. But it is true. There is only 24 hours in a day and you only have so much time to work. So making sure that you are utilizing and being as productive as you can during those times is so important rather than just being busy all the time and feeling like you're never getting anywhere. So sometimes you're going to feel productive, but you're not actually moving the needle on things that need to be done. And these are just some of the things that I felt like I have done in the past when I had a much bigger team, probably more so in the last kind of, maybe not the last year, but the last definitely first year or two of running Girls in Marketing as a business. I was constantly answering emails. But Instead, you want to be tackling your most important task as fast as you possibly can, whether that's first thing in the morning or whenever you get started with work. I also was constantly jumping between Slack messages, between meetings, and I was never really having time for that deep focused work that was actually moving the needle on things. I also used to fill my calendar with lots of things that actually didn't really make a difference. But now I'm leaving so much blank space for real thinking. So I will have 2 to 3 days a week where I don't have meetings or I only have 1 or 2 meetings in a day. Now, going back 3 years ago, I was having 5 or 6 meetings a day, and that was so overwhelming. Now, I think the important thing here, someone said, what do you mean by real thinking? I see meetings as something that is very collaborative, but it's not about the work that you're currently doing. So unless you are someone that is maybe more of a project manager and meetings are your kind of work that you're doing day in and day out, the sort of work that I was doing, I needed time to actually think about what I was doing as well as plan and strategize what I was doing as well. Also, I was constantly having a long to-do list with no focus at all. But now I focus on working with 3 high impact tasks a day. So I call them the kind of non-negotiables that I have to do every single day. If I don't get anything else done, I get those 3 things done, even if my to-do list for the week or the month is a lot more than those 3 things. So, in terms of Passata, I just want a quick note here on how Passata integrates into this. Passata will help you with this because it monitors and measures where your time actually goes. So you can see here with this video, you can see exactly what websites and what apps that you're using. So you can see here, for example, Canva's being the top rated app, which any marketers here can probably relate to a lot. And then you can also see other things that you're spending your time on. So, for example, if you're someone who loves LinkedIn, here 22 minutes on LinkedIn. I'm not sure what time of day this was recorded, but let's say it was early in the morning. You might think, oh, I'm spending too much time on LinkedIn. It gives you a lot more understanding of where you're spending your time, and it gives you those deep insights into how you can improve it as well. So, the productivity trap, which is what we are currently in, this is something I am finding I have been in before, and probably why you guys feel the way that you do at the moment. Because I've seen lots of people here saying they feel like they're fighting fires all the time, they feel like they are constantly on. Now, I used to feel like I was constantly on, but I wasn't ever finished. So, the reason that this is, and it's super interesting, so my background and my degree is in psychology, so I love to bring in a little bit of psychology into everything that I do. And this is because your brain rewards task completion with dopamine. So, even if the task is not important at all, your brain will get a hit of dopamine when you complete a task. So, without those clear priorities that you've got, we're going to fill our time reactively and not intentionally. So the reason that this happens is 2 reasons. And the first one is action bias. So we're instinctively preferring doing anything over doing nothing. So the idea of our brain is that we would rather do something than just sit and do absolutely nothing. And this is why we become overwhelmed because we want to constantly be doing something and not nothing. And then the other thing is completion bias. So we have that satisfaction and we're chasing that satisfaction of ticking things off our to-do list, even if they're not moving us forward all of the time. So this kind of comes into the task completion that I mentioned before, which is the kind of hit of dopamine. So let's say, for example, you've got a long to-do list of 20 things, and maybe some of those things are replying to an email or replying to a Slack message, then you're going to get that satisfaction of ticking those off your to-do list, which is great and that works and that's fine. But you have that completion bias of actually, does replying to that email actually move the needle? Sometimes it will, which is great, but oftentimes it doesn't. So it is good to obviously reply to emails and you want to make sure you are doing that, but you want to be prioritizing the important tasks that are in your to-do list over things that are just kind of minimal and that are going to give you that kind of dopamine hit that you might find with something like replying to an email. So, again, bringing in a little bit more psychology here. There is the kind of hidden costs of being busy all of the time, and I have felt like this personally when I felt busy as well. Your brain is not built for back-to-back tasks. It really needs the space to focus, to reflect, and to recharge. So you have both tangible costs and also more emotional costs as well. So the tangible things are mental fatigue. So you constantly feel tired because you are context switching from this thing to something else. And also cognitive overload. So you are feeling so overloaded with the amount of things that you've got to do. Another thing, and I have felt this very much, is poor memory and focus. So, because you are so busy, you don't have a great memory. You can't remember even things that are maybe, kind of 20, 30 minutes ago. So you want to make sure that as much as you possibly can, you're making yourself more productive rather than busy. Also wasted time on low impact tasks, like I mentioned before. You also get decision fatigue. I'm sure we all relate to the idea of decision fatigue because we get to the end of the day and we say, I do not want to, I don't want to make any more decisions. I often get to the end of the day and think about that. So decision fatigue is real, and this is one of the tangible costs of being busy all of the time. And also just a reduced output. So a few years ago when I first started Girls in Marketing and I felt busy all of the time, I actually had a really reduced output. So I wasn't doing what I needed to be doing because I was busy, but I wasn't necessarily productive. Now, when it comes to the emotional cost, this is probably again, probably more emotional because we are constantly feeling something that is related to obviously being busy. So there's a frustration and guilt of not doing enough. I felt like this all of the time. Also, just feeling behind, feeling like you're not getting anywhere with things. There's also a big loss of motivation, which happens as well as burnout. So we see a lot of people talking about burnout now. But if you're never switching off and you're always busy, you're gonna feel burnt out at some point, or you're gonna be on the edge of burnout as well. And you're not going to have any time to think big, to think creatively, to let yourself go a little bit. It is harder for sure, to, have that space to think. But it's so important to be able to do so. And if you are busy all of the time, you're going to feel these emotional costs so much more. Now, if you feel like this and you feel that these are the emotional costs of being busy all of the time, then hopefully today's session will help you come out of that a little bit and start thinking a little bit more bigger and creatively as well. So, in terms of the common cycles that we get stuck in, most people, which I'm sure you can all relate to, well, they're going to start their day with a rough plan or a goal. I always used to feel like this. But by lunchtime, you've been pulled into meetings, you've got Slack messages, you've got urgent requests. Someone mentioned before about fighting fires all of the time. So the problem isn't actually your motivation, it's a lack of a sustainable system that helps to hold you accountable and also focus throughout the day as well. So here you can see in the morning, you might be like, okay, I've got a plan, I'm ready to seize the day. I've got 20 things on my to-do list, but I've got a plan and I'm ready to go. And then by midday, everything's on fire. Nobody's doing what they need to do. You have maybe got caught up by the sales team who've asked you to do something else, or you need to do something else that wasn't on your to-do list. It is a nightmare and you feel like everything is on fire. And then you get to the evening, and this is how I felt almost every single day. I was feeling like, where did my day go? I have not felt productive, but I felt so busy. And I think this is what's happening all of the time. We're getting into these common cycles. We're getting really stuck in these common cycles where we are constantly feeling like we've got a plan. And then by the end of the day, we don't know where our time has gone. So I would love to know what one feels true for you right now. Are you number one? Do you feel you work all day, but you still feel unproductive? Do you maybe feel number two? I don't know where my time goes. Are you three? Can't seem to finish what I start. Or are you four? Overwhelmed and just trying to keep up. Or I actually didn't add to number five. I'm guessing that you're probably not a number five, which would be I feel amazing and great about my productivity because you've obviously attended today's session. But if you feel good, then feel free to pop a five in the chat. But a lot of people are saying a little bit of everything. We've got a mixture of ones and threes. Okay, we've got some fours as well, interesting, and some twos. So it's so interesting to understand and know where you're at because I feel like a lot of us are working all day, but we are never knowing what we're doing or we're feeling unproductive. And I think the problem that this causes is that we productivity is feeling, right? So we feel like we are unproductive, even if we have actually done things, but there's nothing to tell us and say, actually, like you've done a great job today. You might have a micromanager who's able to say that, but in general, there's nothing that comes and says, actually, you've done a good job today. You've got these things done. Let's smash it again tomorrow. We are measuring productivity on a feeling, which is why we're trying to build Passata that can almost kind of tangibly create that feeling into something that makes you feel better, even if you aren't as productive as you could be every single day. So, in terms of Passata, it will allow you and help you to be accountable to the goals that you set. So, this actually isn't in the app at the moment, but the idea of this is that we will have a goals section where you can stay accountable. So, to make sure that all of your tasks are on are like aligned with the goals that you have. And this could be from a work perspective, both if you work full time or freelance or you have your business, or even if you are working on a side hustle or anything else. So the goals feature is going to be a really, really good one, and we are working on this at the moment. So the idea of this is that it will hold you accountable to anything that you are doing, your goals that you have, and making sure that your tasks align with that. So it really isn't a personal thing. The fact that you are feeling the way that you are, it's not personal. It's a really broken system. Most productivity tools focus on what you do, not why you're doing them. So we've been taught to manage our time with things like to-do lists, calendars, and just general sort of guesswork. But these tools, they're not showing us how we actually work and what's getting in the way. So it's great that you can make a to-do list every single day, that you can go ahead and try and tick things off. We are not reinventing a to-do list. Passata has a to-do list in it, but the idea is that the more time that goes on, the more you understand yourself, the more you'll see, oh, actually, maybe I thought it would only take me an hour to do a certain task, but it takes you 2 hours or 3 hours because those are the hidden costs of doing any sort of work that you do, whether it's a business or a work full time as well. So you don't need more hours. You need to understand your hours. And I'm going to pass it over to Gabby, who's going to dive a little bit deeper into how you can understand your hours.
Okay, I've been trying to answer a few questions in the chat that people have been like asking about different things. So I've been like typing away. But yeah, I'm really excited to get stuck into this next part of the webinar, which is all about energy mapping. Anyone know what energy mapping is? Have you ever been asked to do one before? Chances are you probably haven't because it's something that was kind of new to me. And I guess I kind of realized that this was happening, but I never really paid attention to it and realized how important it was to my productivity overall. So, have you ever tried to write an email at 3 p.m. and your brain just says, no, can't do it? No matter what I try, I just don't have the strength within me to do it because this is me. Well, this was me many a day before I kind of worked out how to create an energy map. Oh, so many people can relate. So, most people plan their day around meetings and to-do lists, but we never factor in our energy, and our energy often has its own agenda. So, if you have a pen and paper handy, you might want to follow along and do this. It's going to be 5 steps. They're super easy to follow. And it might just get you started to think about how your energy flows throughout the day and maybe even throughout the week as well, because you can map this out to a week as well. But let's take a day, for example. So if you on your piece of paper can split your day into chunks, morning, mid-morning, lunchtime, afternoon, and evening. Let's think about working day because that's when we're trying to be the most productive. Unless you're one of those people who loves to be productive from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to sleep. I don't know what your lifestyle is like, but try and split your day into like chunks that kind of make sense to you. The next step is to add in what your usual activities would be during these chunks. So, for example, if my morning chunk is 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., I often start my day with a sync up meeting with my team, either with Passata or with some of my clients that I work with as well. And we often start the day that way. And then I also tend to firefight my emails. Now, I then move on sometimes to some focused deep work. Perhaps it's some content I'm creating or some strategy that I'm producing off the back of that. Then maybe at lunchtime, I know that's when I typically get that kind of, you know, dip in energy, and I'm starting to obviously going for lunch. I'm walking my dog, probably having a scroll. And then in the afternoon is when I jump into admin. I answer, you know, WhatsApp messages, Slack messages, and all those things. And I try and fight a bit more fire in the afternoon. Your day might look completely different to mine, and that's great. Write it down. And the importance here is to be super honest and transparent with yourself. Don't write down your dream day scenario. Write down your actual, like, this is where you have to out yourself. Like, what do I actually do when I wake up in the morning? If you have slow mornings, fine, write that down. That's perfectly okay. Like, if that is your reality. If you have a chaotic morning because you're commuting and you've got to jump on a train and you've got to get here, there, and everywhere, write that down. It's all really, really important context for this next part. So, step three, I'd now like you to look at your what you're doing at that time, and I'd really like you to rate the energy levels that you feel at those different points. So, at lunchtime, I already mentioned I have a bit of a dip. I am trying to go on a walk, trying to, you know, clear my head a little bit, maybe think through some problems as well that I've kind of had in the morning that I'm trying to probably thinking I need to sort in the afternoon, doom scrolling 100% and having a bit of lunch. For then I might feel like there's a bit of a low part, but I probably start the day off high, really positive, and I probably end the day on a high actually because I'm, you know, really trying to rush to the end of it. But there will be dips and flows in between as well. If we go to step four, now this isn't an art class. You don't have to make this look like the most beautiful thing you've ever drawn out, but it sometimes is really nice to draw this out as a quick timeline or bar chart so you can visually see how your day typically flows. So if 9 a.m. your energy is pretty low when you start and you get into work, it might have points where you think, oh, I've just had my lunch, I'm full of beans now, I'm best to do my meetings at this point, etc., etc. Where is that energy ebbing and flowing? And most importantly, is that consistent day to day? Now, there are, you know, if we have women, if you're a woman, you might have your menstrual cycles might come into this as well. That's also a big important point as well, that obviously energy isn't going to be the exact same every single day, but you know deep down, if you had to write down how you typically spend your day, we're habitual creatures and we often tend to do the same things over and over again. Now, there will be slight things that change, but you know, it's really important to kind of try and draw out the bigger picture. Now, now that you've tracked your activities and your energy levels, it's time to start drawing the dots and connecting the dots. Which tasks feel easy and which ones are feeling like you're pulling teeth? And is that because you've got mismatched things? So at 2 p.m., you're getting all these meetings that are dropping in your diary, but your energy is low and you're not feeling like that's what you're able to give right now. Do you hit a wall around that 2 till 3 p.m.? Are you better in the morning? Are you better at night? When do you feel that flow feeling? Does everyone understand the context of flow when you're just like consciously working at things and it doesn't feel like hard work? When do you often feel those things? Because I bet you it's similar times each day. And then what are the times where you're just like, this is so foggy, I can't even concentrate. I used to get such bad headaches around 3 p.m. I worked out that it was caffeine related as well, but I used to just be like, oh, everything is so overwhelming by 3 p.m. And it used to be really counterintuitive to put a meeting in at that time because I just couldn't think or focus properly. So, anyway, I hope you've drawn some beautiful diagrams there, everyone. So, your energy isn't the problem. That's the important thing we want to say. It's not about having energy. You are not expected to have perfect energy the whole of the day. That's completely unrealistic. But if you're forcing it into someone else's routine, it is a problem. And often when we have employers and, you know, people and clients that we need to answer to and just our general working day, a lot of us are often doing that. And so it's really important to start with how you actually work and try your best to build a productivity and build your work life around that. So, Passata helps you with this. So over time, because it uses AI, it learns how you work and it starts to build a strategy that works with your energy levels. So it will start to learn where you are typically spending the most time scrolling on TikTok or spending the most time scrolling on LinkedIn, however you spend your day. Or, you're doing a lot of emails in the morning, you're sending a lot of emails first thing. It will start to learn this behavior from you. Everyone knows if you've used ChatGPT, if that's your introduction to AI, you'll know that by now, if you've been using it a long time, it knows so much about you, probably more than you even know about yourself. It's the same with Passata. It will really start to learn how you work and allow you to optimize your day alongside that as well. And there's more to come on this as we build and grow the app.
So I also want to talk about why we never kind of feel finished. So obviously Gabby mentioned about energy mapping and hopefully you guys have put that together. What I would say off the back of energy mapping is someone said before about, not every day is the same and I totally get that. Definitely know and understand both Gabby and I, none of our days are ever the same. I would probably recommend doing energy mapping maybe over the course of a week or over the course of a few different days so you can see because there will be patterns, as Gabby said, we are creatures of habit. So there will be patterns, even if you don't really feel like there is definitely patterns in energy. And also someone mentioned about if you get periods, again, using a period tracker is really important. But I think that this really does, our hormones really impact our productivity as well, which is something that we are hoping we can integrate into Passata in the future as well, which I think would be really good to understand whereabouts, if you are someone who has periods, whereabouts you are in your cycle versus, how productive you are actually being, as well as how productive you feel. So a lot of us, we are operating at a day level. So we are constantly saying, what do I need to do today? But we don't have that bigger structure and we are drifting away from our goals. So if you don't define your own direction, you're going to be pulled into a completely different direction or someone else's direction as well. So I felt like a few years ago, I was constantly asking myself every single day, what do I need to do today? But I wasn't looking at it from a bigger picture perspective. So we want to talk you through now something that will hopefully help you to zoom out a little bit and have a bit more of a bigger structure to everything that you're doing so you're staying on track with your goals.
Okay, so life is better when you add a bit of sauce. That is the caption we're going with, Liv, isn't it? For our sauce method. Olivia and I sat down and we said we wanted it's more than just a tool. Like we wanted to be able to create a way that you could think about productivity that actually has you at the center of it. I think a lot of us think about productivity in terms of helping our employers, which is great. Everyone wants to, keep their job and make, their employers work for their clients and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, the thing that is going to make you feel most happy and most fulfilled, and therefore a better employee or worker or whatever, is actually finding cohesion with your overall goals and the things that you're executing on daily. So we came up with the source method and we're going to integrate it into the app. There's loads of bits that are coming in that will kind of link back to this formula, but we believe it's really important that you, starting with the letter S, set your vision for life. Where are you going? What's your big goals? Do you want to build a career in marketing? Do you want to live abroad one day? Like, what is it that you're actually working towards? Are you more of a career focused individual? Are you someone who really values, stuff outside of work? Like, what is the bigger vision? What are we working towards here? Then it's all about looking at aligning your year. Does your year align with the things that you set yourself in your overall vision? Then we're looking at breaking it down into monthly chunks. How are we understanding our month? What does that look like on a month to month basis? That's, 12 times over within a year. Are we able to achieve certain different things? What does each month or season end up looking like? How do we create a structure in our week that has boundaries, where our energy is taken into account, where we're able to work through these bigger things that we've broken down chunk by chunk into each week, and then we execute daily, not the other way around. A lot of people think, right, let's wake up and this is what I'm going to do in my to-do list and I'm going to execute on this. And what we really want for Passata is for it to be able to hold you accountable to the things you say at the end of the year. If you spend a whole week working on a project that is completely opposite to what you said you wanted to do at the end of the year, it'll tell you. Or we want it to be able to be like, come on, where are we going with this here? And sometimes those things have to be done. Like sometimes we have to do things that aren't ultimately for our life goals. That's just life. There's this stuff that we have to do. But sometimes it's really important that we draw attention to that because we can just get lost in it. And sometimes a year goes by or 3 months goes by, and you think, actually, what did I do in that time that fulfills me? And it's a tricky one. So yeah, Liv and I have been working on the source, and more to come on that. So, yeah, Passata, like I mentioned, is going to help you with this. It's not just going to manage your tasks, but also look how it matches up to your long-term goals as well. And there's more to come on this as we roll it out.
So we hope that you can see from the last kind of 40 odd minutes that we've been on the session, that we as kind of people and also you guys as well, we are not just facing these day-to-day struggles, but we want to actively do something about it because we genuinely believe that the way we think about productivity is broken and we want to try and fix it as we can, with Passata, but also with just understanding and mindset in general. So a few people saying they're loving the source method. It very much is something that Gabby and I put together because we wanted to give people a method that we have used through our own kind of findings and our own life, really, from being very unproductive to being on our productivity journey. Now, I don't want anyone to go away and think, oh, Olivia and Gabby are the most productive people ever. We are definitely not. We are very much in a position now where we are much more productive than we used to be, and we are more productive than we are busy, but we are always learning and always improving. So, the idea behind the source is something that we've both kind of experienced and put into motion ourselves, which I think has been a really big impact on how we've got to where we are now and how we are continuing to kind of continue with our journey. So, as I mentioned before, we would absolutely love for you to sign up and use Passata for free. So there is a free version of Passata. You can go to passata.io and you can also join our WhatsApp community as well. I've seen a few of you have already joined, so thank you so much for joining. Please do join, give us suggestions, app feedback, stay in the loop about the latest updates. We are building this with people like you guys. We want as much as possible, as much feedback as we can. We want your suggestions. If you want a certain feature, please let us know. If you want a certain integration, let us know. So please do go into the WhatsApp and give us as much feedback as you possibly can. And that is everything for today's session. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. We are right on time, which I love because normally Gabby and I do go over, so I'm very impressed by both
Done
of us,
well. We've done well.
which has been great. So thank you so much for joining. Please do sign up to Passata, give it a little try. Use it just as a to-do list if you want, just for now. Get using it, the different features, you can integrate your calendar, and please in the WhatsApp, if you have joined, feel free to add in lots of feedback, lots of suggestions. If something's not working for you, please do let us know. If you've got any certain feature that you really want, please again let us know. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you all with us today. Thank you so much for spending your Tuesday lunchtime with us. I hope you go away from today's session and you have a productive rest of your day. If you do feel like you want to get more involved in the conversation, you can do with WhatsApp as well. We'll also send you a recording of today's session via email. So obviously we've talked about the source method, we've talked about energy mapping. So if you want to go back and give this a watch later, we're going to send it out via email, the recording as well. And you can reply to those emails if you've got any questions or you want to ask us anything, but not necessarily over WhatsApp. You can email us as well. So thank you everyone. It's been a pleasure. I've had an absolute blast with you all. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys.